All right, let's take a look at where we left off last time. We created an art folder. We created a folder PC for playable characters. And then we created a sprite sheet. And inside of this sprite sheet, we created all of our different walk animations. And we took a look at how to create or edit a sprite sheet just kind of in a little way by changing the hair color. All right, so the next thing we need to do is create the input actions that are going to be used to make our character move around. Now, the thing to understand is if you go to edit project settings, in the past we used these axes here. We're going to be doing something a little bit different. And so if you did the platformer tutorial, that's what we went through. So let's go ahead and in our assets folder, create another folder. And I just call this folder IA for input actions. And then you're going to right click, create. And then you're going to look for essentially input actions. So you're going to probably have to click like a little down arrow. I think it's cut off on my screen, so forgive me. And it is the last option on my entire list. Let's see if maybe I can. But anyway, I'll name this player inputs. So sorry if that's cut off in the recording in the video, like it was off screen, but just be aware of the naming. All right, so let's double click this to open it up. Now this is what we're going to use to do our WASD keys and all that good stuff for moving our player around. So under action maps here, what we're going to do is you'll see here's new actions, and then these are the action properties, the way that we want to use a button or whatever to run that action. So for the action map, the first thing we want to do is name it. So let me double click that. Just go ahead and type movement here. Now the next thing is like, well, what is the action that we want to use for movement? Jumping, all that stuff. Our character isn't really going to jump. It's just going to walk around and maybe attack or shoot or whatever. So under here, I'm going to double click this and just say this is move. Now underneath here where it says bindings, these are key bindings. So what is the key? WASD, W for walking, to play the walk animation going up, all that good stuff. So for move type here, you want to make sure that you keep it on value and not button. And the control type that we're looking for is vector 2. The reason for that is a vector 2 is really the X and Y because we're making a 2D game. We're going to be moving our character on 2 vectors. Imagine a vector is like a single direction, right? And under a certain axis here. And so we're only going to be using an X or Y axis to move our character around. And a little bit of force if we wanted to move at an angle using a little bit of both the X and Y axis. Let me know if that's not clear and I'll make a follow-up video really explaining vectors. Now what's nice about this too is Unity already knew ahead of time that there's certain things that you're always going to use. And for example, you're going to always need sort of an up, down, left, right, a composite of those. So let's go ahead and select that. You can see now under 2D vector, and we still don't have any bindings, right? Like you can see there's this path here, which lets us select gamepad, joystick, keyboard, and what key bindings we want for each one of these. Right, so under no path here, if you click on this keyboard shortcut here, and I just press W on my keyboard, you can see it says keyboard W, and I select that. And I want my character to go, I just want to do like a generic WASD thing. So S for down, so I'm going to hit S a couple times. Let's see. Come on. It didn't pop up initially, I had to scroll down, but here's this S for here. And I'm going to click off. Come on. There we go. And then left, I'm going to hit my A key, and then I'm going to scroll down a little bit and see if it finds my A. Where's my A? Maybe scroll up. Yeah, here we go. A keyboard. And I'll click on that. And then for my right, I'm going to select my D key. And I got lucky that time, so I clicked on it. And it looks pretty good. I don't need this no bindings here. And you could do it again if you want to by going to add binding or add up, left, right, and you'll have another one here. And for this binding here, you could do a controller if you have like a joystick, and you can map it this way, depending on what your joystick is. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. I'm really just making a WASD game right now. I'm going to hit save asset to, and now if I close this and I reopen it, you can see here's my player input bindings under movement, move, and I have my WASD keys here. All right, let's close this out, and under player inputs here, in your inspector, make sure to look for generate C# class. Go ahead and check that on, and go ahead and hit apply. And what you'll notice is inside that same folder where it says player inputs, it went ahead and created a class. Now I'm going to go to edit and then preferences. Let's give it a second to reload that domain. Actually, what I want is edit and project settings, not player. And I want to go to editor. Oh, I did say project. Sorry, edit and preferences. Sorry about that. And under external tools here, go ahead and select Visual Studio if that's what you're using, or Writer. If you see open file by extension or you don't see these in there, you have to install Visual Studio. If you don't know how, contact me and we'll jump on a Zoom call and we'll get that going. But for now, I use Writer. I love Writer. You can get it for free as a student if you sign up through their website. Just look up Writer Student. If you need help with that, but really it's this, the mechanics are pretty much the same. So just make sure that your script editor is there. And if we double click this player inputs here, when we go to generate a class, what it's doing is it's giving us a lot of starter code here. And let's go ahead and here, I'll let Writer sort of open up. Let's drag this over to this screen. So this is stuff that you're not really going to tweak, but I'm just showing to you what the file looks like. You can see it's got some stuff. And if you're new to coding and this stuff scares you, do not worry. I'm never going to show you anything that I don't explain. And if I don't do a good enough job explaining it, let me know and I'll make a follow-up video to really clarify that thing. Clarify whatever the code is. All right. All right, so next, what we need to do is set up our player in our scene. So remember we created this art folder PC and we have only a single player in here. Let's see. Really, to be honest with you, player walk down 01. If I grab that image and I drop it in here, and it looks like there's a little bit of some artifacting going on. Let me see if I select my main camera and say, no, you don't really. Well, I'm going to have to go in and kind of figure out, like clip that or erase that. I think that had to do when I did the padding. But for now, it's fine. Because if I go on here and I add a box collider to this, as long as it covers the whole thing, it's totally cool. And you don't even really see it. And the guy is going to be like probably this tiny on the screen in comparison, like the game view. Oh, you do see it in the game view. We'll fix that later. We'll go in and erase that or whatever that situation is. All right. Actually, I can just show you how to do that now. So if I double click this and you can see, I think there's a little thing around that. So let's do the same things below floor, show in Explorer, and then open that in Photoshop. And I'm just going to highlight these edges and delete them. And I'll hit Control S. And it could be the way that, yeah, see how it cleaned that up? It was just extra art sitting around. Okay, anyway. I'll make sure to upload a cleaned up sprite sheet as well, so you don't have to do that. But back to his. So we have our player walk here. And I'm just going to name this player or something. And so that's our main player. Now inside of video games, maybe this character will want to be on top of not maybe, but they'll definitely want to be on top of grass. But this character might walk underneath a tree, and the top part of the tree where the leaves are should cover the character. Maybe we'll have like a shadow there. For that, we're going to need sorting layers. We're going to go ahead and do add sorting layer, and you can see we don't have any sorting layers here. So we're going to name the sorting layer that this character is going to be on as player. So I'm going to click back on him, and remember you have to actually assign it, and that's going to set up our character as the player sorting layer. I think that's good for now. We have our player in the scene, and let's see. Inside the assets folder we have art, and let's go ahead and create a folder and just call it prefabs for now. And what we'll do in the next video is we'll drag our player prefab in here after we're done setting them up. And I think that's good. I think that's good for now. We got our input system down.